initiated by International Refugee Rights Association. This is Gizem Dik, and today we will host one of the Uyghur activists, Kevser, to talk about immigration process of Uyghurs escaping from Chinese government. As it is widely known, Chinese government applies oppressive policies against Uyghur Turks inside the country. Since 2017, these oppressive policies have been becoming more and more unbearable. Therefore, Uyghur Turks are under constant pressure, and some prefer to immigrate to another country for safety. Before starting to dive in our talk, let me provide a little background about my guest. Kevser is an undergraduate student majoring in political science and IR. She is based in Turkey. Hi Kevser,
Selam Gizem.
we are happy to have you today. Can you tell us about yourself and what you do?
Thanks for calling me. So my name is Kevser. I am ethnically an Uyghur. I am born and raised in Egypt. I have been to my country only once so far, and that was when I was a kid, 10 years old. Then in 2017, we moved with my family from Egypt to Turkey. I am a senior student in international relations, as you just mentioned, in Ibn Khaldun University. Starting from 2020, I got involved in working in the Uyghur advocacy by doing some activism work regarding our cause. We've been working with Uyghur youth in and outside Turkey on several projects to raise awareness about our cause and to call people for action. In Turkey, for example, we've done something called the Uyghur Genocide Museum. It's a simulation museum for visitors to have a deeper understanding of the Uyghur genocide. It's still open, by the way. Also on social media, we've got accounts such as Atlas Now and others where we post infographics and updates about our cause. We've produced recently a documentary that spots a light into the stories of Uyghur ladies who were forced to be sterilized, who were forced to abort their babies. It was screened in Istanbul. It's called The Birth of a Genocide. Also, for example, lately our team have conducted a campaign during the Beijing Winter Olympics 2022, where they targeted athletes there to do the crescent moon sign with their hand while they are in podium there to address the human rights violations that Chinese government is committing against Uyghurs, Tibetans, people in Hong Kong and Inner Mongolia and other Chinese citizens. We've also in Istanbul opened a youth center for young Uyghurs to go and socialize and learn. There's a boxing club there, so we're encouraging our youth to go and release their stress through healthy sports. They also get mentored there. We've been organizing their various educating and fun activities and so on.
These are amazing, actually. Thanks for letting us know. Let's start our talk starting with our first question then. Why can't Uyghurs immigrate or seek refuge easily after leaving China?
Well, our status as Uyghurs ain't like Han Chinese in China. Issuing passport is hard, and even if issued one, getting a visa is also a big deal. Uyghurs don't get their passports easily. There's a discrimination in the process of getting any document that allows us as Uyghurs to leave China. They confiscate our passports for the sake of quote unquote safeguarding it if someone had one. And some people manage to receive it, but of course, after providing the government their DNA samples and their biological data, and well, Human Rights Watch, for example, had addressed that as a violation of the freedom of movement. It's also a violation of our right to live as inscribed in international law. So basically, Uyghurs, they would have to pay big amounts of bribes and so much money to obtain a passport and had them frequently confiscated anyway by the Chinese authorities. In recent years, even applying for a passport and not using them, like not traveling abroad, has become grounds for being sent to a concentration camp. For example, there was an official in Ilanlık township in Toksun County of Turpan Prefecture in our country, and he told Radio Free Asia that all passports were seized from the entire population of that prefecture at once in 2017, and they were all stored in the prefectural police station. So he said that they have had collected all the passports that Uyghurs had. For those who were living in diaspora, they have been unable to renew their passports at the Chinese embassies and consulates as other Chinese citizens do. Instead, the Chinese embassy officials, they would destroy their existing passports and replace them with a one-way travel document to force them to return back. And of course, when they return back, they face extrajudicial detention or imprisonment. And my father was, first, for instance, he had received that document when we were back in Egypt.
Can you tell us about Uyghur status in Turkey? How many Uyghurs are living in Turkey? Are they given any special status by Turkish government? How much are the Chinese-Turkish relations affecting Uyghurs here?
Well, the immigration outside our country started back in the 1960s, and that's considered to be somehow of a first wave, where a lot of them went directly to Kayseri. Their children are still living here. Then there was a second wave in the 1980s, and then there was a third wave in the late 1990s, especially after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Borders were open to Central Asian countries, and there were Uyghurs who went to a Central Asian country, and from there they managed to come Turkey. And then in the early 2000s, after 9/11 incident and the war on terror campaign that was carried out afterwards, it affected Uyghurs hugely, where China took advantage of that and started using discourses that Uyghurs are radical, extremists, Muslim terrorists, and so on. So the situation became much harder there. The atmosphere had no smell of any kind of freedom. And it started becoming more intensely that in 2009 there was a big massacre. It was a bloody incident. Hundreds of Uyghurs were killed by the Chinese government as a brutal reaction to a peaceful protest that was held at that time. So many Uyghurs gave bribes and did their best to escape the country after that. Then eventually the relations over the years started to get normalized and to get better between Turkey and China. Then what's crucial is that in 2015, all of a sudden, the Chinese government made the process of getting passports very easy. They pushed and promoted Uyghurs to leave China and to go to other countries. They made it smooth for Uyghurs to get visas, which was not normal, of course. For example, for Turkey, Uyghurs could get e-visas or electronic visas through direct planes that flee between Istanbul and Urumqi, which did not exist before. Trade, for example, was going very well between Turks and Uyghurs. They imported many Turkish clothes brands, sweets, food, and even serious Turkish products were very popular and trending and trustworthy among Uyghurs back there. And then starting from 2016, the government started mass detaining Uyghur people. By 2017, the government arrested the Uyghurs to whom they gave permission before for leaving the country. And we started then one by one to hear about something called concentration camps, where the government saw that Uyghurs were imposing a threat to them, so that they need to be quote unquote re-educated and civilized according to them. The government denied that they have such facilities. Then satellite imageries proved its existence, and human rights organizations proved the violations that are occurring there. Then reports came out from leaked documents from the government itself, such as New York Times article on some leaked documents called Absolutely No Mercy, shows that Uyghurs are being systematically oppressed. They were being forcibly sterilized. They are being used in forced labor for major brands such as Nike, Apple, Fillaz. They're being forcibly separated from their families. They're being deprived from their rights to practice whatever religion they want to follow. They're being banned from using their mother tongue and so on. And then we started having witnesses coming out, and they started giving testimonies such as Gülbahar Jalilova, Zümret Davut, Tursunay Ziyaudun, and other survivors. And that was very crucial in taking the entire cause to a new level and considering it more seriously. Also in June 2017, the Egyptian government arrested Uyghurs who were living in Egypt and started deporting them back to China. I am one of the people who escaped that incident, for example. And around 3,000 Uyghurs came from Egypt to Turkey, and that was another new wave. And then starting from 2018 onwards, international media started talking on the camps issue, and more people started paying attention, and activists and politicians started being more vocal about that. Even Uyghurs in diaspora, they also started talking because now we all lost contacts with our family members since 2017. And so by now, think tanks such as the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, anthropologists and scholars such as Adrian Zenz, for example, and others, they got to bring very strong and heavy evidence and statistics that what's happening is a genocide, a physical genocide, not only a cultural erasure. Furthermore, according to the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, what's going on with Uyghurs does unfortunately match all the conditions to call it a genocide. So several countries afterwards, such as the Netherlands, the UK, Lithuania, and so on, they approved our case now as a genocide, and we're calling now more countries to recognize the Uyghur genocide so that we can take more action and condemn and punish China on their violation.
Then, can you tell us about Uyghur status in Turkey? How many Uyghurs are living in Turkey? Are they given any special status by Turkish governments? How much are the Chinese-Turkish relations affecting Uyghurs here?
Well, so it's estimated that there are around 50,000 Uyghurs living in Turkey. For their status, so Uyghurs can't leave China and seek refuge to another country or gain that status in any other country that they go to because internationally, well, so China has given the image to human rights organizations and other states that it's respecting the rights of all of its citizens, and they are promoting and propagating that there is no genocide in their country, and they have been until now, of course, denying all the evidence of the genocide. So there is nothing called refugee status for Uyghurs because we're not in a war, no official war with China. Like there are no two states. We used to have our independent state until 1949. Then we were occupied by the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist government, and now they call us an autonomous region, which is Xinjiang, and it literally means the new land. So it's a different case. For example, in Syria, Libya, or Palestine, the conflicts and crises are clear and known. So within the international law frame, exceptional cases can be made for them, granting them opportunities to refuge to certain other countries. And that's why our situation is totally different because we don't have that. But after 2009, especially after 2017, some democratic Western states started observing the serious violations happening in our country. So if Uyghurs went to any one of them within the legal structure that they have, they can make a room and take them in. Even in Turkey, they don't take us as political refugees. But according to my knowledge before, there was something called the resettlement law, which was a policy adopted by the Turkish government that set some basic principles of immigration. And Uyghurs, as a Turkic group, were kins. That law manifested that fact, so those who came to Turkey after a certain period of time could register and get the citizenship through that law. So that was one privilege that used to exist. But then the relationship between China and Turkey improved throughout the years. And after the Syrian crisis, there was something called the European Harmonization Law, which made new changes to the immigration laws in Turkey after 2014. And these advantages were removed, so they don't exist anymore. Instead, they started giving Uyghurs who came to Turkey long-term residence permits. So most Uyghurs who came after 2015, their legal status now are foreigners who have residence permits, and some did get the Turkish citizenship.
Thanks for explaining all this. Would you like to add something?
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to present this topic on your platform. I'm always around if anyone had more questions and wanted to know more about the Uyghur cause. Thank you.
We thank you. Dear listeners, this is Gizem Dik. We have talked about immigration process of Uyghur Turks and the issues they have faced with. Thanks for listening. See you next time in Roads to Migrate.